Hello, everyone. I am so thrilled to have you today on the podcast. My name is Mohammed Mansour. I'm the VP of Sales with Allure Ventures and the owner of the Mansour Real Estate Group. And today we have a special guest and a good friend of mine. He's the owner of CCI Group of Companies, which is involved in over 3 million square feet of development across BC. He's also the owner of Cannon Construction, which is a management company that works with some of the largest developers in BC. And if all that wasn't enough, he's also the owner of Allure Ventures, which has over 1,000 homes in various stages of development today. He's here to share with us his take on the BC real estate market. Garry Sangha, welcome to the podcast.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
I think you messed up my intro.
Why?
You forgot to tell people I'm your best friend.
Oh, there you go. He's also my best friend. Although some friends out there would be jealous to hear that.
Yeah, those of you who are jealous, well, he's here and you're not.
So I got to tell you, I'm incredibly excited to have you today. And one of the biggest reasons is because these days, people are just bombarded by information. I mean, they're drowning in information and starving for knowledge. And a lot of times, people that are talking about the real estate market, giving advice about the real estate market, either don't have the full picture or the breadth, aren't involved at every stage, or they're trying to sell you something. So really, really excited to have you here because I think there's a lot of people out there that are looking at what's happening out there and trying to decide what to do, reading in the news and reading all this information out there and can't make sense of it. And given the fact that you are involved at every stage from construction to development to sales, really I'm excited to see that unique perspective today.
Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge being shared on social media these days. And those are not credible sources sometimes. So information flow could lead to misinformation sometimes. I think people on social media, mostly TikTok and Instagram, are trying to put up as much as information out there. But we shouldn't really rely on all that information because we should try to do our own research, and we should not also rely on a lot of economists putting up their forecasts, because not so long ago, what did all the economists said? This is a thriving industry. Real estate is up and up. There's no coming down. And I think most of the economists read the moment and forecast it with the moment they're living in. So it really helps to understand the landscape that we live in. I was at a seminar once, and there was a prominent developer speaking, and he said there will never be a recession in BC because we can't change the nature we live in.
What do you mean by that?
So we live in the most beautiful place on the planet. We live on the most desired place on the planet to live for other people. This is the destination where all the immigrants want to come. So sometimes focus is placed on who is buying. I think focus needs to be placed on who is living, because people still have to live.
Yep.
So they'll rent. So someone will buy for these people to rent. So I don't think there are dark clouds in terms of a market crash or a downhill in real estate, so to speak.
So you're saying this having access to developers thinking about building a place all the way down to your own developments and selling them, and you're seeing the demand still there at every stage?
Oh yeah, 100%. Our work on hand in terms of doing work for other developers has never been this large. Wow. And it's the same developers that we work with over and over again, which are accelerating the size of their companies. We have demand. There was a research. It says close to 100,000 or over 100,000 people move into BC every year. You divide that by 4. That's a family.
Right.
And that's being generous. That's how many homes you need. And we struggle to build 15 to 17,000 homes a year.
So you're thinking it's a supply issue?
But a huge supply issue. I think the hike in interest rate is also going to stop some of the work, which is going to create a bigger supply issue. So if you have invested in real estate today, 3-4 years from today, when the market is up and up, the supply can't catch up immediately. So you'll be positioned really well to gain from the investment you make today.
That's interesting. So the take is because rates are going up, cost of stuff, you're actually thinking that this might actually push supply even lower in the next few years?
It will, because they're not all developers have deep pockets and can weather the storm in terms of the interest hikes and rise in construction costs. So some of those will want to wait, which you can see if you go research city data, you will see that less projects are coming in front of council for approval every meeting. And that will have an effect when this market turns and it goes to an upswing and there is no supply.
100%. Because, I mean, we all look at what's happening out there. Now, of course, there's no crystal ball. But I think the general consensus is we're going to start to see interest rates reduce in a couple of years, at the very most. And usually you need 18 to 24 to 48 month lead time for new inventory to come up. So less inventory being built now, we're going to feel the effects of that right at the time when interest rates start coming down.
Well, in city center, you need 4 years for supply to come because you don't build a concrete building in 2 years.
Right.
So those who are investing in real estate right now are probably going to be positioned really well, because city center Surrey is probably one of the best investment opportunities in Lower Mainland, if not all of Canada.
So what, if anything, explains just how expensive real estate is in BC?
Is it expensive?
You tell me.
Well, cost of real estate is compared to what scale? This is a city, this is an area this is a part of the world that is growing. This is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Vancouver is turning into a metropolitan city, if it already hasn't. And compared to a lot of the other metropolitan cities in the world, London, Hong Kong, Dubai, is this expensive? I don't think so. Specifically talking about Surrey, you compare Surrey to Vancouver, it's 50% of the prices or less.
Right.
So I personally don't think that real estate can ever be expensive. Real estate is the cheapest on the day you buy it in British Columbia. I'll give you my personal example. I bought my first home in 1997. I paid a staggering $242,000 for it.
And this is a nice home.
Yeah, at that time, it was a very nice home, and my whole family was up in arms why I'm spending so much money. So to say that I'm overspending.
Right.
Which is the fear that is being spread out there these days that, oh, it's too high, prices are too high. I sold that house in 2001. 2 years ago, I thought I should buy that house back because, I wanted to show my kids where my first home that I bought. And I tried to buy that house and I was outbid by 40 people and it sold for 1.7 million.
Wow.
The same house that was not renovated.
Wow.
And the house was built in 1980s. So real estate is the cheapest the day you buy it. Because it's the best investment you can ever make.
And I think that the important thing that most people need to look at when it comes to real estate is it's time. You have to hold the real estate. They might have ups and downs along the way, but long term, it's always held in BC and most places around the world.
Oh yeah, historically it holds. There are a lot of successful businessmen out there that struggle to put an equilibrium in their wealth until they start investing into real estate because it brought that steadiness to their portfolio.
Right.
Specifically around pre-sales. I think when times are tough, like there are these days with the hikes in interest rates, pre-sale is the way to go.
Why?
Well, you don't have a mortgage.
What do you mean by that? For somebody that has never bought pre-sale or considered pre-sale before.
Well, you have saved up a money to invest into real estate and you want to buy something. So one, you either don't qualify for mortgage right now because interest rates are too high. Two, you can't afford a payment because the interest rates are too high. Three, the rent to interest rate ratio doesn't work for you. So when you buy a pre-sale, you're buying real estate. You're starting to own real estate without having a mortgage with just 15 to 20% down.
Right.
which would be your down payment to start with.
Yeah.
A pre-sale in a tower project is normally 36 to 48 months. So your property is going to grow. So put in perspective, if you were to buy a pre-sale tomorrow, you're not completing till 2026. Even the Bank of Canada forecast is that second quarter of 2025, we are going to be one of the strongest growth rate periods that Canada has ever seen. So you will be closing at a time when it's low interest rates, but the value of your property will be much higher than you purchased it at. So you're building equity, you're building wealth without paying a mortgage.
And I know you personally believe in this. It was one of the things that drove you to start Allure Ventures and to build a development company because of the opportunities that this gives people. Why Surrey? Why focus your development efforts in Surrey? You could have picked anywhere in BC.
Yeah, I think everything comes with passion.
Okay.
I went to school not so far away from here, Queen Elizabeth. I lived in the Queen Elizabeth area.
You're a QE guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm a PM guy. I don't know if we could have been friends.
Thank God. Your school had a bad rap. Only school that had a bad rap than us.
The only one worse than QE is
Yeah, still is.
It's getting better.
You know what? I'm proud of Queen Elizabeth School. It gave me a lot. But the multiculturalism of the city and an opportunity that it gives. Nobody does business only for passion. I think the opportunity that Surrey gives, not only to us as developers, but to those who invest with us and buy the pre-sales.
What do you mean by that?
Well, once they own a pre-sale, the growth in a pre-sale in city of Surrey would probably be a lot more percentage-wise than a growth in other parts of the city. Obviously, I'm not trying to denounce, the metropolitan part of our Lower Mainland, which is, downtown Vancouver. But price points in downtown Vancouver are very saturated.
Right.
They will continue to grow, but the pace of what the pricing of real estate in Central City, Surrey will grow is not comparable.
Yeah, and the cost of getting in is so much less, too, in Surrey than it would be in other parts of Metrotown or metropolitan areas.
Yeah, I mean, downtown Vancouver to city center Surrey, it's 1/3 price.
Right.
Which means 1/3 deposit. And bigger units.
Right.
A much more open space. And you have SkyTrain. You're 30 minutes away from downtown.
Right. So tell anybody who's watching right now who has never bought a pre-sale before or never bought real estate before and thinking of getting into it, what advice would you give them today?
I think if you are someone who haven't bought real estate, you need to really get into the market now. There's the best time to get into the real estate market is when times are tough. It may bring a period of hardship in your life, which you'll adjust to, which happens to everybody who enters into the real estate market for the first time. But the pre-sale is the way to go, because this way you don't have to worry about holding a mortgage. You don't have to worry about rising interest rates. None of that's going on out there will make any effect on you. You just simply invest, you own a home, and when it's completed, which should be 3 to 4 years after you complete the sale, you should be well positioned in your life, because 4 years of a personal growth is also huge. Right. And we will be trending in lower interest rates, and we will be trending into a heavy growth period. With all the immigration that's moving into Canada, they're trying to bring millions of people into this country. Real estate is a for sure great investment idea.
And really, when people immigrate, they end up usually in one of two provinces, Ontario or BC.
Yeah, and in BC they end up in?
Usually Surrey.
Usually Surrey. And its affordability plays a big role.
100%.
And connectivity plays a big role. Surrey is very central. Surrey is same distance to Abbotsford than is to downtown Vancouver. So it connects you with the hub, and it connects you with the valley. So I think that is also the connectivity of Surrey, close to the U.S. border. It's a really good place, and I don't know how many people know, but City of Surrey is also known as City of Parks. So over 200 parks, 6,000 acres of parkland.
Yep.
Within 3 city blocks, there's a park for every resident in City of Surrey.
Okay, and then what do you think makes Allure Ventures different from other developers?
Oh, well, I have a bias there. We didn't become developers and then become builders. We learned how to become builders first and then venture into development. We started the CCI group with Cystal Consulting Inc. as a drywall contractor, venturing into masonry, venturing into formwork division, venturing into a window division, metal panels, waterproofing, roofing, venturing into a general contracting company that is right now doing construction or pre-construction on $3 billion worth of work. Had our experience. $3 billion. Yeah, billion. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know. I don't know how many zeros in there, but there are a few. And then we ventured into Lower Ventures because our logo says our family building your home. And if I am building the home for my family to live in, I have to make sure that it's built to the standards and aspirations and quality that those who invested with us expect.
You know, that's a very interesting point because most people don't know this. They don't know that oftentimes the person that's the development company that's marketing and selling the project isn't the one that's ultimately building it, right? They hire a builder to do that. And most people don't understand the value having vertically integrated where it's the same person with the same objectives and the same intent to produce the best quality product at the end of the day.
And you know, Mo, there are a lot of quality developers in this town. And by no means, with this conversation, we should reflect good or bad on anybody else. But I am proud to say that there is a level in the development field where you're a developer and you're a builder. But find me an example where you're a developer, you're a builder, and a contractor.
Right.
So we have taken that one step down where we self-perform concrete, we self-perform drywall, we self-perform masonry, we self-perform waterproofing.
What does self-perform mean?
Means we have our own in-house companies that are performing that work on our projects. So this way, there's about 17 different parts of construction that we do on our own development projects, which gives us price stability, quality stability, schedule stability. The 3 key things that almost everybody's looking for.
That's awesome. Okay, so I always like to end off with a couple of questions that have nothing to do with real estate, so bear with me here. Who has been the most influential person in your life?
There hasn't been just one.
But who comes to mind? If you had to pick one.
My mom.
Your mom. Wow. Yeah. Why?
Her selfless service that she's given to people, and the fact that she kept me in her stomach for 9 months.
Wow.
I mean, I could be rowdy. Keeping me still for 9 months would have been a problem, right?
All right.
But you know what? My dad played a huge role. My wife played a huge role. My sister played a huge role in my life. My brother-in-law is my best friend. He's my business partner. You can never say that there is one single person. You know, my friends. I still remember that walk in Vegas.
Right.
So.
Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Received or listened to?
You pick. That's a good one.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. Ah, interesting.
Well, I mean, for this podcast, I can say something that's like very like, hey, you know, this guy came to me once and said, you know, you should really organize your company before you grow. But I think the best advice I got was, if you have the opportunity, you have to seize it.
Amazing. All right, last question. What's your favorite movie? I'm talking about the one that it doesn't matter how many times you've seen it. If it's on, you're going to watch it.
I have watched it 10,000 times. I watched it. I started watching it last night, even though I came home at 2 a.m. from a meeting. Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
How am I not surprised? Really?
John McClane, my friend.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, Garry, I really appreciate you making the time. I think people got a lot of valuable information out of this and really good insight. Where can they go to learn a little bit more about Allure Ventures, you?
AllureVentures.ca.
Okay.
Home to everything that you need to know.
I hope you guys got some value out of this. Please leave some comments in the description wherever you see this. Until next time. Thanks, Garry.
Thank you.